Little Herc has a visual of the seafloor. Water depth is about 20-35. We have a sedimented seafloor, slightly burrowed. Well, it actually looks pretty pervasively burrowed. It'll take us a few minutes to set up, and then we'll start moving up slope. We'll start with a speed of 0.2 knots. Actually, it's moving. Yeah, it's moving. You can see the track behind it. Small snail maybe, gastropod. That's correct, gentlemen. That's how we'll start. Looks like we've got some generally hummocky seafloor. It's almost certainly all biological. Sedimented seafloor, no evidence at all of any nearby outcrops yet. We're about to get moving. Our initial speed will be 0.2. Our direction will be 260. We'll be climbing this slope. We're on a flatter part of the slope here. Slope is going to steepen up as we move to the west. And we're off. Looks like a rat tail, huh?
Yes, the little one.
Well, that's a different looking one though. That one's awfully dark. That was just black.
Yeah, it's not in the light pool.
Well, I guess so.
Video
I
says.
guess so. That's a very dark colored one. It's just you know, uh, he doesn't just look black. He is black. It's the black sheep of the rat tail family. get lasers, gentlemen, when you get a chance. It does appear to be a bit of a current here. Is that your impression, guys? Yep. Coming upslope to downslope. Is that your? Yeah. Uh-oh.
Looks like a C pen.
pen. C pen. Yep.
The bamboo or coral variety, it looks like.
Looks nice and healthy.
Not sure what's going on there.
It's like is that a barnacle?
No,
I actually
no.
can't see too well. Can't see too well through that pilot.
A little hermit crab down to the right.
Yep. And lasers off when you can, gentlemen.
Where do these hermit crabs find these pretty shells? I
don't
never
know.
see any gastropods looking
Well,
like
there
that.
again, well, we actually have seen a couple, but you're right. I mean, they go find these sports cars of shells, and then it's great. Do they try out various shells to see which one is the perfect one before moving on to the?
I think
or do
so.
they come
yeah.
to the first shell they see and go, protection?
I mean, I think they'll put on the first shell, but they'll certainly try other ones. You ever
Yeah.
had a pet hermit crab?
I have never had a pet hermit crab. I must say that's.
They never wear the shells that you want them to wear. You buy these ones, or they've painted something on it, and you
Really?
think it's pretty cool, but then they
See,
choose
folks
the
out
most
there,
boring one.
Aaron Becker is just, I'll bet you've never known anyone who had a pet hermit crab before.
What? I think lots of people have had pet hermit crabs.
I had many.
Pet rocks.
Easy to take care of. Look wonderful on the shelf. Very limited expense ratio. It could be weed. I don't know.
Hi, everyone. Those hermit crabs use any shell they can get, even some that they don't really fit into. And many
Right.
of the shells come from shallow water.
Really? Well, we're a fair way from shallow water here. That's fascinating.
Right. I suppose there aren't a variety of shells down here. I was just saying that if they came across a new one, maybe they'd try it on, figure it out.
So I would never have thought that they, these are things I never knew about hermit crabs, and just underscores what I said earlier about learning about all this stuff from my colleague here. Now that's an interesting. It looks like some kind of a worm burrow or something. the
Oh yeah,
irradiating
that radiating
furrows. Now
one.
there's
I
a
think
sponge.
that
Look
might
at that.
be one of those. Maybe Mary could help me out with this, but is that one of those? I forget what they're called.
Looks like a starburst pattern on the
One of those worms.
seafloor. And if you can pan down after you look at that sponge, guys, I'd like to look at that burrow just below you in the foreground.
Is it an echiurine worm burrow? Yeah, this is what I was looking for.
That's a beautiful sponge there.
The sponge Duplectel.
Yeah, it should be directly pan straight down. There you go.
There's
That's
two
it.
of them, it looks like, actually.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It does. And lasers on, gentlemen, please. Yes, you can move on if you need to, by all means. Yeah, we're on the more gradual part of this slope now. It's going to steepen up in front of us a little bit here. Looks like you got to see some trails on the seafloor as well. Might be holothurians. I haven't seen one yet, but there could easily be some here. Roger that. I'm not seeing much here anyway, so that works out. A pretty sedimented seafloor here. No reason to think that we won't see sediments all the way up. We might see outcrops as well, but this is a stepped slope. We're going up slope the entire dive. But we will not see slopes like we saw, or cliffs like we saw in the Sigsbee Escarpment the other day. And we've got a little bit of current, probably upslope, downslope, but again, that will not be the issue that it was on the Sigsbee the other day. Another C-pen, I guess, yes?
Yep.
Oh, pretty good looking shrimp there in the field of view in the midwater. An article on CNN yesterday about the Asian tiger shrimp invading the northern Gulf of Mexico. And we haven't seen one of those yet. They get up to 13 inches long. And apparently they're eating the local shrimp. They're not sure how they got there. They lost some of them on the East Coast. They were aqua farming them. But then they got in, somehow they've gotten into the Gulf of Mexico. That is one big shrimp, 13 inches long. Apparently it eats the local shrimp. Apparently we can eat it fine, which is why they were aquaculturing it. But they let some into the natural environment, and that's always can be a big issue. So now they're worrying about it.
It's pretty much always going to happen, it seems like. I mean, I would think when you're aqua farming something, basically caging off a portion of the ocean, how do you keep things from escaping?
Well, and if they're 2 or 3 times as big as the local competition, maybe we can get a zoom on this. It may be debris, sargassum, but let's get a look. It's in a hollow. That is indeed what it is. It's sargassum from the surface that's ended up in a hollow here.
Yeah.
Swept in by the current.
They're always in hollows. Maybe sargassum digs hollows. Just kidding.
Could be a new sargassum burrower. There we go. That's great, guys. Thanks.
Sargassum, of course, is a seaweed. It probably just ends up in these hollows because once it gets there, it's not as easy to move out of it.
Out of the current. And we've seen an extraordinary amount of live sargassum on this expedition in this part of the Gulf.
Yeah, many giant
big rafts
of it, as far as you can see.
Yeah, really, really big. My somewhat limited experience in the Gulf is that but a lot of experience in the Western North Atlantic. I haven't seen rafts like that very often. I mean, that's really a lot of it here now. Not sure what these little white fragments are on the seafloor. I don't know whether they're shell fragments or
maybe pteropod shells.
Pteropod shells, yeah. 'Cause we're certainly at a place where we might see those. Got a shrimp on the right, I think. Pteropod shells. We saw these in the octocorals yesterday. These are are these the royal red, do you think?
No.
These are not. These are something else.
Because those are the kind that have kind of feathery, wavy
legs. Right. These are the...
And these have the long, thin kind.
And then when we zoom out, lasers, gentlemen, please.
I think that's another thread leg shrimp, Nematocarcinus.
Nematocarcinus.
Thank you. I'm going to want to zoom in on one of these white, I don't know whether they're shell fragments or what, on the upper left of the shrimp. That would be a good one to zoom in on if we've got time. The larger one would be better for me. I don't know whether it's a pteropod shell or looks like it might be. Could be.
Shark tooth? I don't know.
I don't know. I would have said pteropod.
Broken.
I would have said pteropod, but maybe not.
I guess that's what I would have said too. It's the shape of one.
They look a little bit like arrowheads.
Seems large.
It could be a fragment of something else, though. Seem to be a lot of fragments of things on the seafloor. Okay.
Could be a barnacle plate.
Barnacle plate we have input from the beach that it could be a barnacle plate. Certainly seeing a lot of white fragments on the seafloor. We'll investigate some more, try to get a sense of what they are. Another one of those Echiurin, is that what we're thinking? Burrows, the kind of starburst burrows in the foreground there.
Do you know, Mary, this is Mary that we're talking to, yes?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Do you know what those starburst, so you have a hole and then kind of a starburst pattern around it. Is that one of those Echiurin worms that makes that?
I think you're right.
Yeah, because they stick their proboscis out and then just kind of roll it around on the sediment, pick up stuff. So I could see it making that kind of pattern.
Mary from Texas A&M thinks this could be a barnacle plate. Boy, I could still see this as a pteropod shell, but I'm not going to, not being an authority, I'm not going to swear on it, but it's interesting. Look, certainly has the external appearance of one. All right, lasers off. We can move on at your pace, gentlemen. My thanks. This is the Okeanos Explorer. We are on dive 13. We are at a water depth of 2,025 meters. We are slowly climbing the lower part of the western flank of the Keathley Canyon. With luck, this will be the next to last dive of leg 3 of Okeanos Explorer's leg 3 of our northern Gulf of Mexico suite of expeditions. With luck, we'll have another dive tomorrow somewhere up canyon from here at a site to be determined by multi-beam seafloor mapping that we will do tonight following this dive. This is the Okeanos Explorer. Another sea pin.
Got some burrowing anemone there.
Yeah, let's get a look at it if we have time.
Say, Jamie, this is Bill Keeney here, and
Yep.
Just to let you know, I've got the Flower Garden staff here watching the feed and in our ballroom, and so all looking forward to a good dive today.
Well, by all means, Bill, anyone with you too, give us whatever feedback you you would like, and we'll try to look at anything you're interested in. So.
No worries, we will. But thanks very much for doing this for us, and it's really a unique opportunity for everyone.
Hey, we're having a ball out here. Nice shot there.
Hey guys, that shell to your left is indeed a pteropod shell. It's called Clio, C-L-I-O.
CLIO.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry, video. What did you tell me? Great. We might want lasers here when video wants to zoom out too. And some of these fragments we're seeing where our colleague Mary from A&M is telling us are pteropod. Now I'll let Aaron tell you what a pteropod is.
Swimming snail, as far as I know.
Swimming, right.
The shallow, swimming around in the shallow water, and then
then
they die, and their shells end up down here.
And their shells are made of a kind of calcium carbonate called aragonite, which is we call it metastable, and at water depths below about 2,500 meters, you tend not to see them because they don't stay on the seafloor very long. They dissolve. Seawater, standard seawater is undersaturated with respect to this calcium carbonate at that depth. So, but above 2,000 meters, and we're at a depth now of about 2,000 meters, you tend to see them more. I'm ready when you are, gentlemen. We do have some indication of current here at 2,000 meters. Not enough to apparently to affect our visibility. Visibility's been quite good. Looks like another sea pen there in the foreground.
Yeah, different kind that time.
See a target on the Little Herc sector scanning sonar off ahead of us to port. Take a little look at it. Large divot in the seafloor. We've had some discussions about what these are. There has been some discussion about whether or not they're related to predation traces from whales. But that, boy, we might want to pirouette around that and look back at the mound in front of us, see if that's a burrow. Yeah, do you want to look at that first? The orange.
Yeah.
Let's look at that first. Yeah, let's take a look at it. When you get set up, this is pretty interesting. If you need to stop here, we can stop. All right. That's a pretty big divot in the seafloor, but it does look like it's related to some kind of digging as opposed to... boy, I don't know.
Interesting.
Looks like metal.
It does.
That looks like metal of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, the shape isn't anything really recognizable, but...
That looks like iron that is a piece of metal that's decomposing on the seafloor there. We can, I want to pirouette and look at this from the other side, so if you've got to stop, go ahead. would have to class that as metal of some kind, indeterminate in terms of what it is, but. Yeah, I'd like to look at the other side of this mound, look back at this from basically do a 180, come around, do a 180. And if there's no burrow on the other side, and it's increasingly looking like there is not, then I'm tempted to call that some kind of a biological impact on the seafloor from above. And boy, these are enigmatic. These Mike Vecchione the other day thought these might be predation marks from beaked whales, but boy, we're deep. We're down 2,000 meters. It's awfully deep. I'm not going to say they don't get there, but it's a long way.
I mean, I don't know how you get such a big, and let alone two big mounds from just kind of striking the floor.
Boy, I just don't. I don't have a good feeling for it either.
I mean, whales are pretty big. I suppose one mound that size is feasible.
Maybe they're coming down and wagging back and forth before they leave, but that wouldn't explain the second mound behind. Swing another 90 degrees and look back at it from, go left and pirouette back. If you can do that without, I'd like to look at those two mounds from the other angle.
What's this over here on the right?
Well, that's the skid mark from Little Herc when they looked at the iron.
Got it. I think that was one of those isopods with really long legs that we saw swimming around before.
You're right.
Thanks. All right, tall sea pen with a brittle star on it. Oh, like an actual sea star, maybe. Yeah, it does look like an asteroid sea star.
Can you get in closer? The starfish may be eating that sea pen.
Yeah, you might be right. So we're just getting set up to do a zoom. So Mary suggests that it could be eating that, and it certainly does look like there isn't anything below this sea star, and he could be kind of grabbing on from the the bottom, where his mouth is. Santiago agrees, predatory. sea star. Yep, some polyps that were pulled off there and fell onto the seafloor. I wonder how high up on this thing this sea star can get before it just breaks, falls over. Like climbing a skinny tree. Except you have water, I don't know.
You guys have the lasers on to know dimensions here?
Yeah, we'll turn the lasers on then. Lasers, so I only see one on the coral. Oh, and one on the leg of the sea star. Okay. I see them in the background, no? Kind of. Oh, I see, I see. So one on the leg sticking out on the sea star, and then one on that coral. looking at this little shrimp or an amphipod. Can't tell yet. Looks more shrimp-like, huh? Yeah, it was kind of interesting. So he's down low on the right now. It does seem to be exhibiting like a hummingbird type behavior, perhaps eating little particles that the coral has caught in its polyps. Yeah, I don't see him anymore. Right now we're looking for this little shrimp or amphipod, some kind of little swimming crustacean that was, he might have got blown away.
That's a colorful one. Oh, is this one of the swimming ones?
Yeah, I think it's one of the flat swimming ones. Just kind of.
So they come down to feed for a while and then they, whoa.
Yep. As video predicted, gonna launch off of there. Or get blown off, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I think he's getting blown off. I think he's getting blown off. Just when he was sitting down to a meal, he gets blown over by a roving ROV.
I think that's
turned over.
Sufficient. This is my opinion. Sufficient video coverage of this rolling anemone, or sorry, holothurian.
We will likely see more of those on a seafloor like this. Holothurians to the left of me looks like the same kind we just left behind. I think we just got a good look at this one like this, so we. Oh, all right. I've been corrected again by our video colleagues. Let's make sure we. Roger that. And if we can keep him undisturbed.
Try not to frighten this one, or blow him away.
Get him rolling along the seafloor.
An interesting bit of trivia. Did you ever see holothurian blood?
Have I?
Yes.
I think it's fair to say that I have not.
So, you know, if you spill a bunch of it on the table, then it hardens into kind of like a gelatinous thing. You could just peel it off the table then. It's kind of interesting.
It's gelatinous?
Yeah.
Is it colorless?
It's kind of like, well, it's mostly clear, a little tinge of blue or purple or something.
Look at this one. This is a gymnast holothurian.
Yeah.
Is it hemoglobin-based blood?
No. It's not red, but I don't know what is in their blood.
Well, it folds and then lifts off. You know, it seems to fold get a little spring off the seafloor, and then it. That's great. Of course, it's foiling our video engineer. He wants a nice view of it on the seafloor, and now it's. Fantastic. Who needs an elliptical when you're a holothurian, swimming holothurian? You just keep doing deep knee bends. Those are our own tracks, our own little Herc tracks to the left of the holothurian on our Herc view. We sat down to try to get a good picture of him on the seafloor, and then he's been advancing on us, so we think we're facing up current, so we've been, when that holothurian lifts off, it begins to float down at us. Really quite beautiful, actually, if holothurians can be called beautiful.
Of course they can.
To other holothurians, they're.
I think they're beautiful to us, too.
That's a really colorful one.
I think people like purple things that
really
float around. Yeah.
I just I don't think I have the guts to wear purple. I like purple, but from a distance.
Well, yeah, okay, but we like to look at purple flowers.
Yeah, no, well, I'm always amazed
like
by the color. I'm amazed by it. It's one of these colors that occurs in nature, and you go, wow, impressive. Oh, that's a great view. Wonderful view, guys. Close up. I suppose we're looking at the digestive system of that holothurian.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yep. It's neat how you could see all their organs inside, too.
There's a transparency to them that is heartening. Whenever you're ready, gentlemen.
They look so soft, but they're kind of like stiffer than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually. Well, that's not true. I've actually handled them scuba diving,
right,
shallow
I
water
would think so.
ones.
You pick them up and they're kind of like hard. You know?
Right. They're a little bit like soft cucumbers. That's why I guess they call them sea cucumbers.
Like their outside is soft, but they're got a rigid body.
And the skeleton is what? Is it a? Is there a skeleton? Is it
Has some kind
cartilaginous?
of structure. No, it wouldn't be like that because it's not a vertebrate. But I'm not sure. I would expect that their skeletal structure is similar to that of like sea stars, but I don't really know. I mean, I just know that they're related, but I honestly don't know what they're.
Interesting.
Those deep sea ones are very, very soft-bodied. We've tried to bring them up in trawls, and they end up being just goo.
Right. Yeah, I think the ones that I see on reefs that I've scuba dived on have a bit more substance to them.
That's true. There are some that are really soft, especially those little skinny ones that live around mussels and stuff. Those are basically just like jello.
Another sea pen there. Yeah, we can get a zoom on that.
Does look like a tripod fish.
That is, in fact, what it is. They are ungainly looking when you try to dislodge them from the seafloor. They kind of stagger ahead for a few steps and stop again. Clear, and they're almost always facing up current. It must be in part how they get their nourishment, kind of waiting for something to float down on them.
Yeah, when you collect those sea cucumbers too that are purple, they stain your hands purple.
Really?
Yep.
See there again, having a biology sidekick right next to you fills you with arcane bits of knowledge. I would not have known that a purple sea cucumber would stain your hands
Bits
purple.
of trivia, yeah.
But this is good. This is the kind of thing that you take away from an expedition like this and never forget.
I mean, the blood is pretty
the rest
weird.
of your life.
I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, it is liquid when it comes out, like you would expect, just a fluid. And then you could like peel it off the table and kind of You could tear it apart.
Becomes jello-like, or cold jello.
Yep.
There you go. Another piece of arcane information that you may not want to know about out there, but now that you know it, you'll never forget it. Yeah, well, I saw something look like a depression. Another one of these. Whoop.
Another one.
Well, I think that's another. But who could say? Maybe it's the same one. We are going back and forth.
Oh. I don't know. That one was at the end of a linear path, so I think it's probably not the same one.
Could be
the one we.
Well, we've certainly
was just tossing itself around.
Could be. And once they get up in the water, I think they're they do twist and turn, but they probably are more or less at the mercy of the local current. Another sea pen, yes, I think, in the foreground.
Yeah, it seems like that, you know, they're swimming, in quotations. It's more to just keep them afloat than to
Yeah,
go in a
well,
direction.
and you know, it is a form of locomotion. They do waving like wings. Is there more sargassum there?
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, is it man? Yeah, it does appear. Does appear to be man-made. Get a quick zoom on it, I guess. If we looks like a can of some kind.
Metal.
It's metal. Oh, is it leather? Maybe so.
Or
maybe
leather.
so. Maybe so.
Or a sanding belt.
Nice
Does
work.
look like sandpaper.
That's why you
Very
have
good.
engineers for your pilots. They, I would spend all day looking at that and not come up with sanding belt.
Actually, wet dry sandpaper. That's why it hasn't fallen apart, I suppose. Yeah. Ooh, fast. Let's have a shiny eye. Curious about that thing.
It's another one of those shrimp with the spindly legs. Been seeing these white shell fragments on the seafloor. We've identified at least one of them as a pteropod shell. Now is that, now that resembles what we've been calling halosaurs or perhaps a cutthroat. Yeah, it's confirmed by Amanda and Eric Cordes' lab that that is a halosaur. Andrea, I'm sorry, not Amanda. It's like another one of these dark rat tails. Well, that's different than the one we saw earlier, though. That's certainly a black one. This one's bigger, different color. That's interesting. What is that?
Oh, that's one of those fish that we saw before.
Is it? Is
Well, no, I mean, we saw it just a little while ago, and
Oh.
it had a really shiny head. I don't know. They're very fast,
Very
but
fast.
I don't know what it is. Maybe Andrea can tell us.
Is that some kind of bioluminescent organ on the head, or is that a...
Or a really light sensory organ, or maybe
Yeah.
it senses some other wavelength. I don't really know.
Oh, interesting. I haven't
It
seen
could be bioluminescent.
I missed
too.
that.
I'm
I
not
must
really
have been
sure.
out of the van when we saw that.
So Andrea says she's never seen that fish before, but yes, it's a light organ on the head.
That's great.
Right. Oh yeah, there's another one right in front of us.
So, look at that. That's amazing, huh? So that must be, that's a survival organ. Maybe that just helps them find each other.
Could be,
in
yeah,
the dark.
because those bioluminescence can be for
You know,
catching prey, for predator evasion, for mating, finding
Yeah.
each other.
Look at
as you
that.
said.
if you were in a dark room, you want to find somebody else who's like you. And there you go. That's great. Fascinating. Looks like it's split into two sides. It's got a black divider in the middle of it. It's got almost look like eyes, but obviously not. Whoa. Yeah, it seems like the whole upper part of his head is this organ. It's really bigger than I thought it was initially. And have we gotten lasers on this fellow, guys? Did we? Yeah, pretty small. Yeah, I don't know if I'd even. Well, maybe 6. Yeah. Kind of hard without a profile view, but certainly I wouldn't put him at more than about 5. But he's an interesting looking 5 centimeters. I don't think we've seen one of those on this expedition yet. At least not that I have been around for.
No. And Andrea says she's never seen this particular fish before, which she's worked with deep sea fish for quite a while, so.
We will call it Okeanos Explorer Eye. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Just burst my bubble. Where we think we've got a new species.
Dave,
You
is
say
such a
you
jerk.
saw it on the previous expedition. That's fine. Just like a dive supervisor, you know, it always has to one-up you.
It's a one-upper.
Well, that was good. That's an interesting looking organism there. Just call it the flashlight fish.
We're going to try to sneak up on it from the side. Only a matter of time before it shoots off.
Yeah, he seems remarkably sanguine about having this enormous vehicle, right? You know, maybe he hasn't noticed us yet. We've kind of snuck up on him from behind. But I suppose you know, when a fish like this is motionless on the seafloor, it could be asleep, yes?
I don't know about that.
No? But some fish do essentially sleep, yes? I think they do. I've seen sharks that do in places like New Caledonia. They just come right up on them. Whoop, goodbye. It's a fine thing.
And some sharks have to keep moving all the time.
But they actually get in a place. They
Gills.
get in a place where there's current, and then they just sit
Yes.
there, and the current flows over. You're right, but the current flows over their gills, and
Right.
they sit in a nook or a cranny of the reef, and then they basically conk out.
I don't know. I don't know enough about fish.
No,
Sleeping and resting. I don't know if they
seems
really
as
sleep or
though
not.
some never stop moving, and then others. Well, let's take our frogfish as an example of.
Just sit there all the time. That's because they're ambush predators.
Yeah, but boy, I tell you, it could be a long time between ambushes, and then you might take a snooze once in a while.
They don't have eyelids, so it's hard to tell.
Well, that's
Sleeping.
Right, that's right. We continue to traverse over a sedimented seafloor looking for biology. Have not seen any outcrops yet on this slope. It's a pretty gentle slope. We've moved up from a depth of about 2,035 meters to about 2,015 meters. We are moving at a direction of approximately 260 at a tenth of a knot, moving slowly enough so that we can investigate biological specimens we see on the seafloor. This is the Okeanos Explorer. There's a fish. Speaking of fish, we got a halosaur, perhaps.
I think so.
And they continue to look to me like they mostly have their heads up current. That one is drifting backwards, head up into the current. Kind of sideways. Well, sideways. Maybe head into the current, but it's drifting. Oh, got to move fast. Got to move fast. The quick and the dead when it. I didn't really want to zoom anyway. What do we got there? Is that another pen? Sea pen?
Yep. See
Looks like
something
that one's
on
encrusting it, though. Maybe we can get a quick look at that guy. Let's get a quick zoom on that. It looks dead, but we can. It may have.
I don't
Maybe
think
not.
it's
Oh no, I
dead,
guess not.
but
No, it's got what? Barnacles,
I'm not
perhaps.
sure.
And we've got a little amphipod in the front, I think.
Yeah, it does kind of look like anemones.
Or anemone. Ah, there you go. That's what they are. They're anemones.
How interesting. Those anemones can just hang out on there.
Again, they look like they're facing up current, those anemones. I mean, the pen is bending away from the current, looks like. And the anemones are kind of faced into it, I guess, because they're filter feeders. And Looks like there's something right under. Well, are they part of the anemones? Looks like there's something red associated with each anemone.
Right, I was wondering that too.
These organisms living on top of each other continues to fascinate me as a geologist. You've got an octocoral living up here and seems quite happy, and then other organisms are opportunistic about using that one organism to get up in the water flow.
Right, and how does, this coral allow them to do that?
Well, one
What's
can well
going
ask
on
that.
there?
Is there some advantage of having those encrusting organisms there? Or do they?
Or just somehow those encrusting organisms figure out some way of getting around any defenses?
Any
that the
defenses?
coral
Yeah,
has?
exactly. Because there can be many communities living in association with these corals, and to the degree that they're not impacting the coral's ability to find food, and it gives the other organisms a perfect platform on which to live above the sediment. I'm sorry, I missed that. What? I think we did. And if you can't get a closer zoom, we'll move on there. I dare say we'll have other opportunities. It's something in the middle field there.
Sargassum again?
I don't know.
Might be sargassum in a little depression. Video thinks sargassum.
That's well, I have to agree. Now that we've had a chance to, I don't know if it's the only thing in there though.
Another one of those burrowing sargassums.
Yeah, I think there may be something else in that. Again, we got burrows around it too. Haven't seen a single crab yet, have we?
No.
Those look suspiciously like crab burrows, though. That is indeed sargassum.
Only hermit crabs.
Yes. No chaseon, no maggot crabs. Magic crabs. I love those.
Me too.
You're still a bit deep for crabs.
Oh, yes? Okay. Mary is telling us it's a bit deep for crabs. Still slightly below 2,000 meters here.
Yeah, I think you get more echinoderms deep and more crustaceans shallow.
Okay.
As evidenced by all these sea cucumbers.
Right.
Echinoderms.
Certainly seeing a lot of, well, we haven't seen a lot. It's been patchy. We saw a few.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And they're not everywhere.
Not everywhere. I've certainly seen more.
Oh, no question. Now, what do we got here, gentlemen? Let's take a... it looks like man-made debris, perhaps. No, maybe not. Maybe it's
Oh, I think so. It's in blue. What is it? Aluminum can?
I don't know.
It's Asian wrapper.
It's
Very
plastic.
good.
It's
Wow.
it's a plastic. It's plastic.
Asian cellophane. Possibly robin. More cucumber?
That certainly
Holothurians.
looks like we got a couple, maybe. In proximity. Appear to be individuals of the same general type.
There was one time when we were you know, floating around looking for seeps, and we kept seeing these pairs of holothurians, the boring white ones.
Really? I did.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I remember
It's
seeing
not
pairs.
not on this cruise. Some other time.
Ah.
You saw it on another leg of this cruise, Roland. Okay, so the
There's
video engineer says that
there's a
they saw a
sponge.
similar phenomenon
There's
on
a
the previous leg.
A good sponge, good looking sponge. You can see the structure inside that one. Is that, would they be calling that a glass sponge? Spicules? Is that what we're looking at?
I don't know how to tell what is a glass sponge. I'm tempted to say yes, but I don't. Honestly, don't know what the definitive characteristic of them is. Those are certainly spicules. Sponges are really weird animals. There's some that you can shove them through a sieve and they just kind of reorganize themselves into an animal again. How weird is that?
I've never seen any other animal do that after going through. Yeah, but Dave, what you don't realize is that you do look a little different after every cruise. You know, you don't completely reconstitute. I myself get smaller and grayer after every cruise. Yeah, that's good. That's a good view, though. It's nice. With shrimp for scale. Speaking of scales, if we can get the lasers, gentlemen.
You can see more of those pteropod shells too.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Some good examples of the pteropod shells just to the right of the sponge.
Those little white
The
pointy
shape
out.
of them, and kind of little skate-looking shells with pointy ends. Looks like profiles of the space shuttle from above.
Sponges are true filter feeders because they actually create a current. They suck in water through their sides and then shoot it out at the top. Whereas anemones would be suspension feeders. They
And
just
is that,
kind of wait
and
for
is that,
stuff
I
to
mean,
come
is that
by.
true even of the sponges that have a rigid skeleton? I mean, do they create it? Can they create a current?
Yeah, they have the cells that they have little kind of
little
like hairs on them.
Flagella
yeah,
on them?
right.
Yeah, okay. Flagella. That's it. I'm good. We can move on. If video's okay with it, I'm okay. What do we got there? Looks like a burrow, maybe.
I don't know.
Oh, is it plastic? There we go. Lo and behold, we thought it was, and it is. There's another one of those starburst burrows next to it, though. It's a pretty good example. Yeah, just changing slope here, getting a little deeper. At a depth of 2,020 meters now, come down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it is there. Another one of those fish with a light organ.
Flashlight fish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a fish called a flashlight fish. I wonder if it's...
Yeah, well, that's, see, then that would get me in a
Let's
lot of
look it
trouble.
up.
It's because I have no idea what that is. Oh yeah, we've got and all across the visual field now, upper right to lower left. I want to take a look at this. Yeah, it looks like these may be outcrops. Yeah, I think we want to. Really? Yeah, let's do a ship stop here and take a look around. Yeah, because we are on a depression here, so let's take a look and convince ourselves. Yeah, we've got some small organisms associated with those sargassums, maybe outcrops here too. Well, just look them. I'll go eat. Just take them, look around, make sure that we haven't missed them.
Yep. So the dark staining that we saw, we haven't seen any quote-unquote dark staining that didn't turn out to be sargassum so far, yes? Right. Yeah, there is something dark in the middle of our field of view we can look at. A coconut, definitely. So since we're down at the bottom of the trench, it's not too surprising that all this debris is ending up down here. Well, there's a little squat lobster. They are really everywhere. I mean, not that little orange spot looks like a gastropod of some kind. Yeah. Interesting. Some kind of worm in a tube. A squat lobster in the background. I'm not sure what kind this one is. It has two thin protrusions coming out, or might be Yeah, some kind of a polychaete worm. No, I don't have anything else really. Was there anything else in this general area that we saw that was interesting? Yeah, okay. What two things? Oh, I did not notice that. Kind of a swimming polychaete here. Pretty cool. Ooh, little guy. It's a brittle star. A coral, a different one, not a sea pen. Can we get a closer look at this one, please? Look like it has some sargassum stuck on it too. This also looks like a bamboo coral. And a shrimp. Go ahead, Nav. Bamboo coral. Bamboo.
That could be another Bathypelmonella shrimp.
Yeah, we see these guys on corals a lot, but then I guess we also see them not on corals. Getting the lasers on. Small. Yeah. We could document one of those. These are... They just keep moving around, though. Another one of these hummingbird type shrimps. They just seem to kind of buzz around the coral polyps.
That might be a mysodacean shrimp,
Mysodacean
from what I can see of
shrimp.
the legs. That might be a mysodacean shrimp. Legs. Yeah, it's a mysid. It has no appendages on the abdomen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mysid. It has no appendages on the abdomen.
If only this little guy would sit still. Pretty cool. You know, I haven't actually seen him touch the coral polyps. Have you, video? Yeah. No, that's good. When video is finished. I think it is a holothurian. One of those ones that we see swimming around, I think. It's a fat one. There he goes. Whee. Oh, yep. Little polychaete swimming by.
My graduate student recommends you make a screensaver out of that.
Good idea. A fish. Halosaur. A little one. Yeah.
Can you try to get sort of a head-in view of this thing? It looks like it has some kind of commensal organism living in it.
We were going to do that next.
Looks like a polychaete or scale worm or something.
Maybe it's an ice worm trying to find ice. Thought it was hydrate, and it turned out to be a sponge. That's great. Nice work, guys. Very nice. Yeah, we're going to want to look right down the throat of this fellow and his friends. Looks like there might be more than one. Must be kind of difficult in there moving around. Whatever was in there is coming out, though. Looks like there are two organisms there.
Oh. Take it back. They look. I'm not going to speculate anymore until I see them.
One looks a little bit like an amphipod.
Yeah, I would say it looks
the left.
amphipod-like, yeah.
On one on the right, I think you might have been right the first time. Some kind of a worm.
They trapped in there?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Maybe they got in and now it's a Chinese puzzle. Now they're having a hard time getting out.
I think they're both amphipods. Just there's one. We're looking at the tail end of the left one, and the head end of the right one.
I think you're right about them being amphipods, but these deep water sponges often have pairs of crustaceans that live with them for their lifespan.
And Mary, is there any reason? Would there be any reason for that in particular? Or is just that the sponge creates a current and just essentially creates opportunities for them to feed in a safe environment?
Very.
As far as we know, you're right. But,
Yeah.
of course, we know almost nothing about these
Right.
deep water amphipods.
Right.
An interesting note from John Reed says this is a hexoctinella glass sponge, and often with a pair of shrimp inside, or I think amphipods in this case, that cannot escape, given as Japanese wedding present. Go figure.
Well, I think
Pair of amphipods that can't escape.
being married is like being inside a sponge. Two people who cannot escape.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like being in a sponge.
Oh, ignore all social commentary from the Okeanos Explorer. When we get out into the realm of society, we know nothing. That is a pretty fascinating view, though. If we can get a close up, that'd be great. Here we go, and Catalina confirms this. Catalina Martinez, one of our own. These shrimps enter the sponge at a pre-reproductive stage and eventually form sexual pairs that remain entrapped within the sponge for the rest of their lives.
Okay, actually decapod shrimps then.
I have spent large portions of my life feeling as though I've been entrapped within a sponge. Look at that. That's exactly what's going on here. They're just...
Well, the literature is on decapod shrimp, and these are amphipods. So something similar probably is going on.
Yeah. That's wonderful work, guys. Seeing this. This is... It's a good thing in my last relationship I wasn't also issued with a sponge. Good work, guys. That was nice. We are ready. Happen in a variety of ways. They can be tidal. They can be related to internal waves. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's a big holothurian there. That's nice. Very highly purple.
Highly purple.
Highly purple. Very purple. That is just a great color. Think about that. That's a wonderful color. I think, you know the difference? I think zooming wherever it's easiest for you is probably good. If we get a profile view, it'd be great. Holothurian, gigantic. And lasers at some point, gentlemen, please. That's a big one. Yeah. Fantastic. Nice work, very clear water. You can see the holothurian in the Sirius view, something on the order of 20 meters or so above, well, not quite 20, more like 10, I guess, above Little Herc. That's a big holothurian. Gigantic, as my colleague Aaron Becker calls it. Giant lake. Go ahead. Absolutely. We may move on.
It's another one of those corals like we saw earlier. Eric said that it was a weird one that he'd never seen before. That it's a bamboo coral, but he couldn't really identify it to.
And it's still got the ophiuroid symbiont with it, right?
I think that's a shrimp.
Is it a shrimp? Yeah, if we get a quick zoom on it, it'd be good. Thanks. I believe you are right. It is a shrimp. It's great. You know, and there are never 3 shrimp or 2 shrimp. There's 1 shrimp. He stakes out that, kicks out the other shrimp, and that's his place where he goes.
No little hummingbird-like shrimp with this one.
Here, you mean? Certainly do. Oh. No. It's not what I think of when I think expedition. Okay, here we go. Looks
Tambourine?
Highly man-made. Tambourine. There we go. That's Aaron's first guess.
I doubt it.
I'm
I
willing
just
to.
thought it was
I'm willing to. I'm willing
what it
to.
looked like from
I'm
far
willing to
away.
entertain other options here. Well, let's get a zoom on it. Why not? But it does look like the old guy in the desert who dropped the hat. It could be the hat.
It does look like a TV
No,
dinner tray.
it's an overturned. It's an overturned sink of some kind. I think it's a sink. It's a. No.
I think it's too small, and
You're right. Is it plastic?
Yeah, I agree that it's like, you know.
I think it's metal. I
think.
Yeah, it's messy. It's rusting around the side there, guys.
Where
So
do you see?
yeah, it could be well, I don't know. Who knows? It's man-made. I wanted some of those plates in that
I
wreck
could
last
say
night to be
rust.
turned over so we could see the bottom of them, but they wouldn't oblige us. This one does, and we. No, it's not very big. We're off. We're off
Yeah.
again. We're off again. Meters.
Oh,
Is that another? Is that one of the swimming holothurians? That's one of the swimming ones, I think. Taking a break from swimming. That's what it, and we have liftoff.
always jump up.
Oh, they are really attractive looking, aren't they? Amazing.
This is one of those little flat ones kind of rolling around beside it.
Fantastic. It's time to get out while the going's good. Gee, that's great. Look at that. Wonderful. That's great. Uh-oh, did we snag him? Did we snag him?
What the heck?
We maybe stay in our field of view. That's great. Sperm whales are known to go down close to 1,000 meters, so I know that much. Yeah, it looks like another sponge there. Get a quick look if it's similar. We got a good zoom on it last time, so this might be a different guy. Different looking, different. It looks like it's got a, yeah, maybe a brittle star on it. Yeah, is that a different kind?
It looks like a different kind. You don't have that like cage on the top.
Yeah. Can we get lasers on that one, gentlemen, please? Brittle star associated with it.
So that's kind of interesting, I suppose, when you think about how sponges eat and how brittle stars might eat. Maybe that sponge is, you know, constantly pulling water in and filtering out stuff, and that
Well, that's what I mean.
ophiurite just kind of pulling the stuff off with
and
its
the
arms.
brittle star just uses that as part of its methodology for getting something to eat. Actually, it looks like the sponge is a meteorite that actually flattened the brittle star against the
It does.
seafloor. That's what it looks like to me. But not being a biologist, that's just that's my literal way of thinking.
I don't expect that sponge is very heavy.
Looks like that brittle star just got flattened. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. We're looking at something that's seems to have longer appendages around to the right, almost anemone-like.
But where's the center of the organism? It's kind of almost underneath this. It's got to be almost underneath the
Yeah.
sponge.
I would say so. Sounds like it.
I don't care what any of you say. It looks like that poor brittle star just got squashed by that poor sponge.
It does appear to be an anemone. It's like that. The main sponge is like crushing the anemone and the brittle star.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
There's a little pebble, and the anemone got there first, and the
I think
sponge sat on the anemone.
I think food is always an issue for these organisms down here. I don't think there's so much food around that they can afford to just hang around. No happy hour. You're looking for food all the time here. I'm ready, gentlemen, when you are.
What an odd little cluster of animals.
Yeah.
Is that a white cucumber?
I vote Holothurian. Oh, no.
No. Oh, yeah. It's a sea star, huh?
Sea star.
It's a fat one.
It's a little different than some of the ones I've seen. That one. So that one does move on what, pseudopods? Little.
I don't know.
And that's a chitinous? Is that a chitinous organism, or is that calcium carbonate? What is that?
I think they have carbonate in their skeleton.
That's not one I've seen before. That's really interesting. Look.
The one had a shrimp. A little coral.
Yeah, and flag it if you want to get a zoom in there. I think we'd seen that. We'd seen that
No,
one
I was
before.
asking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold. What are they on?
That's interesting. Yeah, we want to get a zoom on that fellow. Anemones, Could be a rock though. It could be the hard ground. Does look like an outcrop of something. It does, and with mucho anemones on it.
It seemed dark to be a carbonate, though. Looked like a rock, but
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It could be almost. It could be asphaltite. It could be a rock, but I think it might. It could be carbonate as well. It's awfully dark. I agree. It's darker than the carbonate outcrops we've been seeing.
no.
If you're happy,
Let's go. We just went to
I'm
look
fine.
at a rock.
And I think those small shells are pteropods. It is now 1300 CDT. We have 2 more hours on the seafloor. Got some big depressions off there to the left. Is that another pen with things on it?
I think so. I think it is a crinoid.
Ah, that would be our that might be our first of the day. If that's a crinoid. But that would be what, a sea feather living on a pen, huh? Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. I was just going to comment on the fact that we hadn't seen any crinoids today, and there we go.
And we have barnacle, and I'm not sure what that yellowish thing is down there. An anemone, maybe?
Snail, perhaps?
I think it's an anemone, yeah.
Could be.
It's closed.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. Got a barnacle on the left and an anemone on the right. And you have a nice crinoid.
It does have the fly trap shape, huh? Little one.
Nice.
Cool.
Very nice. Another pen in the background there. And we got something else. I guess that's a mound. I guess it's just a mound there. Yeah, interesting. No idea what causes the difference in morphology. Different organism, likely, but you can see the individual tracks that something's excavated that mound, and
That could be a burrow of a ghost shrimp.
ah, okay.
The thing has a...
To the right.
the
There's
mound.
There's a conical mound there with a hole in the top.
Starburst pattern looks big. There's a little one there too, but
There's some smaller ones and bigger ones. I haven't seen the organism. I think they come out, they're long arms that come out and then they go along and they come out again.
Yeah.
I've seen those.
Exactly.
It's great. A burro. A burro. A little burro. With, it looks like a volcano.
The animal itself could be anywhere down to a meter below the entrance.
Wow. Barry's telling us that the animal that made that mound could be up to a meter below the seafloor. Although I see something right in the opening as well that suggests that the animal may be, or at least something is right there in the hole.
Yeah, it's something tiny.
Yeah, I guess so. Guess it's not the.
Well, in shallow water, you can get all sorts of smaller animals living in the burrow with the shrimp. You can get polychaete worms and small clams, even fish.
But look at the size of that star pattern around it. It really is amazing. And I've seen the arm
large.
come out. They just one arm comes out. It's amazing that it's a single organism.
What would the science paper be about? We were exploring the
My
seafloor.
fearful reaction of
Saw squid. Saw whale eat squid. That's what these burrows are.
well, that's that's
Yeah.
about as much time as you have in a science paper.
That's true. And for your figure, you just
Just have a
photo.
snap of the video.
That's cute. Tripod fish, but just kind of, what happened to its tail tripod thing?
Huh.
This is a different kind that doesn't have the the stilts type tripod.
You know, maybe they're retracted. I mean, they do stand on their are those aren't are those pectoral fins?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't think that they're pectoral fins. I can't remember. I don't know what they are. They're on the bottom, but they seem too far back.
There's another. Is that a holothurian? Yeah, it's another holothurian.
I'm going to try to get him to not spring off of the seafloor again. Oh, this is one that sits there. Never mind. Not a challenge. No shortage of holothurians here. This is going to be another one of these trenches. It's not quite as deep as the last one, but a distinctive furrow nonetheless. Nothing in this one, at least in our field of view. Something light colored here. It might just be mounds of sediment. Something dark behind it. Maybe some sargassum. Yeah, that's a furrow of some kind there. A mound surrounded by sargassum. Well, there's definitely a hole there, a burrow of some kind. I do wonder what's making these burrows at this depth. We haven't seen any crabs around here. And you don't really get large crustaceans at this depth. Is it shrimp? Oh, dang. Yeah, well, coral and a fish in front of us. Yeah, I was wondering if some of those burrows are made by fish. Could be. Complete with little shrimp. I would not be surprised at all if a lot of these burrows and this particular one are from fish. Fish do that. Benthic fish in lakes even make burrows. No.
Snake eel. Oh, what do we got there? Looks like a siphonophore. Got to pan up though to see it. It's a large jellyfish. Oh, it's siphonophore, I think. We saw them in the med. That's pretty interesting. First one I've seen. Wow, look at that. Look at that. They're positively otherworldly, these things. They look
Looks like a squid.
Is it a squid? Oh, it's a squid. Wow, fantastic.
Closer look. That'd be a squid.
Squid, yep, we've tumbled to that. That's great. Fantastic.
Yeah. Where's our buddy Mike?
That is just really great.
Don't go away.
Nice work, gentlemen, nice work. Can we get the lasers on too, please? Man, fantastic, look at that. That makes a highlight reel, that one there. But we did see siphonophores in the med that were they were 3 meters long, these things, trailing vertically. You can see them in the Herc view now. That's a good, I mean, in the serious view of Little Herc. Amazing.
All right, so now we just need a whale to come by and chomp this thing.
Oh, now that would be,
Run into
now
the
that
seafloor.
now that's a highlight. That would be a highlight. Some more sargassum there in depressions. Big burrow. That looks like a burrow in the lower center. Another one. If they are crab burrows, we have seen very, very few large crabs. Only the small hermit crabs. Haven't seen large crabs on the seafloor.
I thought you said lawn chair. Launcher. A launcher, they said. Launcher.
That's
There
great.
we go.
That's great. It's just, those guys are great. Love them. It's just, you know, it's like a fat man on anti-gravity medicine. Look at that. That's great. How can you get tired of looking at that? It's just wonderful. Certainly did well. I got something in the middle distance there. Another sea pen, perhaps. Looks like a pen. Yes. Nothing living on that one that I can see, or at least far away. I always tend to see something close up when we zoom in on these guys, though. Bamboo coral. Very nice. Beautiful job. Great. On the seafloor. Another sponge. I think it's another sponge, but we can certainly take a look. Sponge-like. But does it have a flattened brittle star underneath it? That's the, doesn't look like it. That one just looks, whoa. It was a filter feeder until we completely clogged it up. Another, let's see, fish. It looks like a fish. Halosaur?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Another holothurian. Yeah, this is interesting. Some real hummocks here, and another one of the, well, that may be the same one we saw earlier, but another one of these depressions. That looks a lot like what we were calling predation marks in
But
the
it's
med.
kind of, it's narrow on both sides, so it's kind of.
Well, it comes from a beaked whale nosing in and coming out like that. And then we've got a Venus flytrap, anemone, just sitting here, two of them, I guess, right? They are beautiful. That was about the only thing we saw encrusting the wreck last night, were those. And what's it, they sit on something though, so what are they sitting on?
Yeah, they might both be on a sea pen.
Yeah, those are pretty big disturbances behind those anemones. Gotta find out more about those. Okay, holothurian, but what have we got in the foreground there? Is that man-made? Looks like a line of some kind. I do believe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. See concentrations of what I'm sure are pteropod shells in some of these hollows. Those white fragments. There's a halosaur there. Kind of scars on the seafloor. Pretty good size, too. You got me, boys. Don't know what's causing these. Giant holothurian. No idea. What's the dark? Yeah, let's zoom in on that guy in the mid screen there. I don't know what that is either. It's a burrow, I guess. That's what it is. It's a good sized burrow. We've seen those. It's probably a crab. I haven't seen them at the seafloor today. Crab's day off. We would often see them hiding in the entrance to their burrows in the med.
It might actually be a burrowing lobster instead.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Marriott A&M is saying that it could be burrowing lobsters instead. We haven't seen any on the seafloor either, though, today. Could become the most famous burrowing lobster of its immediate vicinity if it wanted to come out now, but something real. Something real. A gentle slope on the west flank of the Keathley Canyon. This is the next to last dive of leg 3 of the suite of expeditions that Okeanos Explorer has been running here in the northern Gulf of Mexico. Stay with us for another hour, and then we hope to dive further up in the Keathley Canyon tomorrow before heading into Galveston on Saturday night, Sunday morning. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think... Oh, we have a crab. Wow. That's almost the first one today. Well, we want to stop and take a good, thorough look at this fellow. I think it's a crab. It's my own personal view. Without my trusty biological sidekick here. Or no, that's a yeah, it's not a crab.
Looks like another coral-eating starfish.
Yeah, it's a starfish. I got a shrimp there living. That's definitely a threat to that coral there. That. If I were a coral, I'd be threatened. I'd be threatened by that. Did we get lasers too on this? Roger that. And then we can charge ahead if you need to. Very nice. Very nice.
Your close-up view of that shrimp clearly show that the pincers are asymmetrical.
Uh-huh.
And that's how you identify Bathypelmonella.
Aha. Okay. Very nice. Good work, everybody. Video pilots, I hate to say it, but you guys did a good job too. Let us indeed look. It is. Oh yeah, they're around. They're completely coated in pteropod shells. Fantastic. Must be some kind of. Yeah, exactly. Would you eat that? You know, that's. Look at that. Amazing, huh?
That rounded pteropod shell is a genus called Cavalinia, but most of the others are Clio again.
Now that's obviously, that Holothurian is obviously doing that. It's being done as some kind of a defensive measure. Is that right?
Seems likely.
Yeah. Very nice, gentlemen. That's one of the more interesting looking Holothurians I've seen, that one. I should be hearing you, but I don't think I am. You hearing me? I've been hearing everybody else. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Have I been what? Now that we're communicating? Oh, this has been fantastic. I just, this is not, I've had a chance to go, this is the 4th ocean exploration expedition I've had. This is, it's an extraordinary pleasure for me to see the seafloor like this. I normally do sound profiling in the seafloor of one form or another, remote sensing, and this is sensing up close and personal. Very different game. 2 different Holothurians there. Well, that's it. That's it. And talking about it is a lot of fun, too. You don't get a chance to do that except with each other. It's rare that you get a chance to do it with the internet behind you, and that's fun, too. And this is a fascinating basin. There's a lot here, a lot that isn't known. And I think we've been shining a light on it a lot in these last 3 expeditions. It's great. So the answer is, it's fun. Well, and we've got 2 really fundamental tools for doing it. We can map the seafloor and then identify where we want to go, and then go do it. Fantastic. Well, I mean, I've heard various estimates, but the one I hear the most often is that we've looked in detail at only about 4% of the world's seafloor. That means that we've got a lot more to do.
Yep, another one of those little bamboo corals with shrimp on it. Oh yeah, see if you can. We got a Tina 4 in front of us, and this one might actually be pretty. Yeah, it's kind of mostly transparent, and it is kind of down by the sediment as opposed to being against the water, which makes it a little hard to see. Not enough. Quick look at this brittle star. Not sure. Oh.
You know, it's pretty much covered with sediment. We will be up in the what we call the throat of the canyon, the narrow part of the canyon tomorrow. Much shallower water, though. But again, we'll be diving in an area that people have not been diving in before. So we don't. In most of the other dives on this expedition, we've had some information that there were outcrops and seeps and/or biology already. This is a part of the Gulf where there's very little prior information, so we're flying blind a little. Here's another one of these burst depression structures. They all look pretty much the same.
It's a deep one.
It's a deep one. I
guess a lot of them are like that.
It looks like something has just sat down there and gone splash, and come back out again. It's very interesting looking. And we've talked about this as being whale related, but we don't know. But it's a pretty big. That's a pretty big depression. That's a pretty big disturbance of the seafloor that doesn't seem to have anything to do with the underlying geology.
Lasers on, please.
We got a zoom. Let's get a zoom on this blue holothurian. This one's bluer than purple. Although we got, there's a small purple one to the left.
Jamie, this is Bill. Just wanted to say that I think the plan was to go to about 400-500 meters depth tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And that's going to put us right up basically about just south of the Flower Garden banks, back south of the shelf edge, and pretty far north away from the narrow part of Keathley Canyon.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah.
I picked some sites there within the narrow part of the canyon in the hope that you might be able to get some outcropping and maybe in an area that might, due to currents, might be favorable for corals and stuff. But we'll see what can happen. I think the plan was to map up to that.
Yeah, we're going to do that, and the way we have, I think, some flexibility in the timing of the dive tomorrow. We may be able to dive further south in the deeper part of the narrower part of the canyon if we make the dive shorter. And the advantage of a shallow water dive is that we don't have as much transit time down and back. So it's possible that we will be able to get further south in the canyon. We'll just have to talk about that. I should say that we'll plan on coming off the seafloor at 3 o'clock. Why don't we plan on a post-dive call at 4 Central Daylight? Does that work for you?
Okay.
Sorry, you probably can't hear me.
All right,
Jamie.
We'll talk about this. We have about 20 minutes left on the seafloor on dive 13. What were we just talking about? I missed that. Were we looking at something?
Oh, we just wanted to quickly zoom in on this sea pen because it's different than the other ones.
Mm-hmm. It has a shrimp waiting to occupy it. It's too small now for the shrimp to occupy, but when it gets bigger, shrimp will go up there. There's another one. Now, would those
All corals required a hard substrate, but maybe these don't.
because we've rarely seen. I would not never. We have seen them on hard substrates, but we also see them in the sediments like this, and I'm just wondering.
I mean, I'm tempted to say just because they're all over the place and sticking out of the sediment. It seems like they can just throw on the sediment.
That's the question.
Or maybe they can start on something as small as a gastropod shell, or something really tiny that.
Here we go. There we got a. I don't think we've seen that one before. That sponge. Wow, look at him. Look at him. That's great. That's a sponge.
Yeah, it does seem to be on the end of a little sea pen.
Oh, it's on a
coral.
Well, or is it just a stalked?
Oh, it's got little polyps down there. Sponges don't have polyps.
Ah, okay. So it's sitting on top of the pen. We're going to need a pirouette and look at this from the side too, guys.
Let's see if we can find at least one more organism.
And if we need to stop the ship, well, that's okay. Yeah, that's great. There's something in it too, right? There's another little amphipod or.
Nope, there are some little swimming crustaceans of some kind. Amphipod, maybe they do look like little shrimp. I agree. Especially that one.
Look at him. That's great. Flea shrimp.
That's an amphipod.
Amphipod?
Is it? Okay.
Could you look at the stalk of this thing?
Oh, we certainly will. We're gonna pirouette and look at it in plan view too. Don't worry. Do we have lasers on, gentlemen? Beautiful, beautiful. Oh. That's very attractive. I think the silica refracts the light. I think it gets in there and just bends it. Yeah, we do want to swing around and take a look at it. Beauteous.
How neat. It's very cone-shaped.
So it's attached somewhere there, but I guess it's on the end. I guess it's right on the end. Huh. That's great.
I know exactly what this thing is. This is a member of the glass sponge group called Hyalomnia. And that stalk is produced by the sponge itself.
Really? How does it look so
Actually,
Nidarian-like?
the stalk is made up of fibers that are up to a foot long.
Oh.
They're giant spicules.
Gotcha. And then there's anemones on it, yes? Or some kind of colonial...
They're not
Nidarian?
anemones. Those are called zoanthidians.
Okay.
Wow. So it is part of the sponge, the stalk. Huh. If we looked at that without the sponge, we'd swear that was a sea pen, though, right?
Zoanthids, is that the same thing, or are they... Zoanthidians are different?
Zoanthids belong to a different order than true sea anemones.
Okay.
There's a slight internal difference.
Okay.
Huh. Wow. That's very attractive.
We collected these things years ago in the Deep Gulf of Mexico project. I've never seen one fresh and alive, but there's no question that's what it is.
Well, that's great. Thanks for being here. This helps us a lot. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll be concluding this dive shortly. Yeah. Now this is the royal red shrimp, right? These are
Yep.
the royal red, ruby red, the really pretty ones with the flipper legs. But are we gonna get him? Are we gonna see him? Well, he may be faster, but he's got the long antennae. Well, he's moving too. He's decided it's time to boogie. Well, that would be a hindrance swimming with those things. Swimming
It
with
must be worth it somehow.
Swimming with your own swimming with your own fishing nets. Look at that! Wow.
Actually, you know what? I think I've seen one of those sponges before. The ones with the stalks, now that I think of it. Collected one.
Really? Well, certainly an interesting organism. Wow. That one's bent all the way back over to the sediment, huh? And look at it. There's under it. There is always another organism that is using whatever advantage an organism gives it, a sessile organism gives it to either hide or...
I wonder if that's one of those sponges that has trapped amphipods inside it.
I think that probably is. I think
See some faint shapes in there. We can't look straight down the barrel of it. It's a really cool little story about them.
I think that's true.
Japanese wedding present.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think I see two in there. And that's it. They're in there, and that's as far as it goes.
A mating pair. I wonder if you ever, by some chance, get one with 3 in there.
Then that would be 3's company.
Right.
3's a crowd. 2's company. 3's a crowd. That would be tough. The third one can't leave. But there's that shrimp. I love that that shrimp sitting there going, you know, this is my house. Stay away. This is where I want to be.
This is a different shrimp. It's probably a genus called Plesionica.
Plesionica.
No, I take it back. It's Heterocarpus. I can see ridges on the front part of the shell.
There we go. Thank you.
Seems easier to spell anyway.
Yeah, those are those wedding amphipods there. Wedding decapods, or I don't know.
Well, so she was saying decapod shrimp earlier, but these are, or somebody had said that on the event log, but the ones we saw earlier were definitely amphipods.
That may be 2. Might be 2.
I'm pretty sure there are 2.
People who live in glass houses. Wonderful. Very good. Very nice job. Well, gentlemen, I'm ready if you are.